What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a long time. Being a new dad is tough, but we're back and we're gonna try to upload some more content for you guys. And we appreciate you guys hanging out and staying subscribed to me. Today we're going to talk about let's say you have a four-wheeler or a dirt bike. When you go to start it, nothing happens, right? So you know your battery's charged, but you hit the start button and it either clicks or nothing happens. And I just had this idea to do this video because I just picked up a dirt bike. You can probably see it right back there. That's what it was doing, and it took some troubleshooting, and I want to go over some of the main reasons why that happens. The first one, these solenoids or starter relays, known for going bad. They're relatively cheap on Amazon, so why not just put a new one on it while you're in there? But I'll show you a way that I like to test these out to kind of rule out if this is the problem or not. And then this is the other big culprit on these Chinese dirt bikes or four-wheelers is your key switch, and we'll go over that, kind of talk about what happens and why they go bad. So we'll go down to the bike and we'll show you guys what I ran into and how to test your relay. Alright, so what we have is a 2021 Kaio KMB60. It's a little kid's dirt bike. What was happening, key would be on, I tested the battery, had 13 volts. When I hit the start button, nothing would happen. And initially I thought, okay, starter solenoid. So I'm gonna take this body off and kind of show you what I was working with. Okay, so this is your starter solenoid or starter relay. You'll notice you have one wire coming from the battery to this side, and then this other side goes to your starter motor. So really this is just a disconnect between, if this was constantly together, you would always have power going to your starter. So you have these wires that run up to your start switch, and that tells that relay when to engage and when to disengage by when you push your start button. So the first thing I like to do is just to check, okay, if this was one piece, would the engine roll over? So there's a coil inside here, and if it's connected, then when you put a wrench or something across it, the engine will turn over. As you can see, you could start your motorcycle like that. So now I know that everything's good internally. So what would keep this from working? A lot of people hear clicks when their batteries, running low on voltage. That's this relay inside here clicking. So I'll show you a way to test this to rule out if this is actually doing its job or not. Okay, so to test this solenoid, I have these little wires that I made. They have clamps on one end, and then the other end is just bare wire. So what I'll do is I'll hook one up. This is the two wires going to your solenoid. This one, you'll notice on your four-wheeler or dirt bike, this goes into is the same color of wire that goes up to your starter button. So this wire connects to the harness of the bike, and it'll go all the way up to your starter switch. And then this one just ties into the ground. So the one with the green stripe, the one with the red stripe goes to the start switch. So if I ground this one out, I'll just hold it on a bolt. I'll just stick it down there in the foot peg. And then I take another wire. If I touch this to the battery or to the solenoid, the terminal that the battery is hooked to, if I touch this, it's sending power to that solenoid and causing that to open and make the starter engage. So this is a good test to kind of just check to see if your solenoid's working. So if I touch this, this is hooked up to my battery side, this solenoid should engage and the bike should turn over. And the key could be on or off, it doesn't matter, because you're essentially bypassing the harness of the bike doing this. Get a better ground here. So now I know my solenoid's working, because I bypassed the whole harness of the bike. I'm just testing the solenoid now. So you use one for a ground, and hook up one to the power wire of the solenoid. Touch it to the battery even, it'll do the same thing. But that's just telling you the inside of that solenoid's working and doing its job. Okay, so like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the key switches are notorious for going bad on these things. So you have 4 wires on your key switch here. These are all wired to my key switch. You have a red, which is obviously power from the battery, a black and white, which is for your kill switch, green is ground, and a black is another power wire, a fuse power wire. So essentially when you turn the key on, the red and the black wire connect, and then the green and the black and white connect. So there's 2 circuits. So when the key's off, power's only going to the red wire, but when you turn the key switch on, that sends power to the black wire. So if you notice, this is my start button. It goes up to the start button and it plugs into the harness right here. So you have a red and yellow wire, which if you remember will go straight to your starter solenoid, and then a black wire, which your keys, when you turn your key on, the black wire, when it's plugged into here, feeds up to your starter switch, right? So essentially in your starter switch there's 2 connectors. So when you push your button down, a piece of a metal plate in there contacts both of those connectors, and then in turn that sends power down your red wire back to your solenoid. That tells your solenoid to turn on. So you're taking key switch on, power feeds into the black wire, and the black wire goes all the way up to the start switch, and when you push your button it makes contact and sends power through the red one to your solenoid. So with that being said, the key switch is off right now, and I got my multimeter there so you can see it. If I test this black wire, I should have no power right now. I'm gonna ground that one. If I touch the black side, I should have nothing come up on your multimeter. And as you can see, there's no real change on my multimeter. But if I turn my key on, now I should have my 12 volts. It's actually in this case 13.3 because it's got a new battery in it. So that tells me my key switch is doing its job by sending power to that black wire. And I bought this bike very cheap because the guy couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. And initially when I first did my test on this, I wasn't getting any power to that black wire. So I changed the key switch out, bam, that fixed the issue. I have my 12 volts. So I wasn't sending power up to my key switch to tell it to make this solenoid engage, so it wasn't getting any power to the starter solenoid. But with the new key switch, now I'm getting power to my black wire, makes the connection of the start switch, sends it back to the starter relay, tell it to do its thing. Now I'm getting power to my starter, and as you heard earlier, it starts right up running fine. Okay, so a little better view. This is the same solenoid that's on the bike right now, and here are the color codes here. So the red and yellow is the power, and the yellow with the green stripe is your ground. So if you put 12 volts to this wire, you disconnect the solenoid and put 12 volts into this wire, your solenoid should engage, and that should tell you if your solenoid is working properly or not. That's a test I do because I know these are known for going bad. So that's a great test for it. And then here's the colors of the key switch here, what I was talking about. So you got 2 circuits and a key switch. So when the key switch is on, your red and black hook together, and your green and black and white hook together. When the key switch is on, or excuse me, when the key switch is off, power is only going into the switch via this red wire. When you turn the key switch on, now you're sending power to the black wire. Black will run up to the handlebar switch along with a wire that's yellow and black that ties into your solenoid. So when you energize this, push your start button, it connects these two, sending power to your solenoid, which causes your solenoid to engage. I hope that makes sense. That's just my technique of how I kind of rule out if these parts are bad or not. Like I showed you, you can disconnect your start switch and test the harness side to see if you're getting your 12 volts from that black wire that you need to feed to your start switch, to get your bike to start. So that's what's, personally, that's how I do it, and it works. Obviously, I got this thing running and, just a little bit of troubleshooting. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys learned something. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Take care. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.